everybody here to talk about 85 Chestnut?
I am.
Good, we're ready to talk about removing invasive species in the no work area.
That's correct.
All right. So do we have a slide for what he's proposing to do, John?
The title on the agenda of a modification of the COA. The COA was written, this was 1998.
Yeah.
So it's really one of our first ones under the RGFA calculation.
Right.
And I don't really call it a modification, that's more of a clarification of what we can do to invasives in no disturb areas.
Right.
The description of the no disturb areas in the original COA just defines those areas. They are on a plan defined, but it defines those areas as no stockpiling of materials for construction purposes and/or topsoils. A typical no disturb. It was actually, I don't even believe it was delineated by hay-bales and silt fences back in the day. You know, historically what was in these areas that we're looking to reclaim, as they previously were grass meadows with birch trees. You're probably familiar with the property. 85 Chestnut Street is on the hard corner.
Just point this out on Google. I mean, here I am on Chestnut Street. Which one are we talking about? Is it the one with the
This
pool?
one.
This one.
The
Okay.
circular driveway.
All right. So where's the?
So
So
the-
it's which area?
So this is the hard corner of Chestnut Street.
Yep.
This one was, this is a photo from about 2005. That house was redone. This was in 98 when this was done.
And where's the meadow that you want to restore?
It's in this whole area under here. And the one in the rear, which is behind this house actually. It's a very oddly shaped
Shaped
lot.
lot, huh?
Yeah. I can show you the full plan, it's huge, but do you want to see the full site plan?
Sure.
Did Kim get over there? Or is this the first we've seen of it?
The first you've seen.
That's you.
And with the invasive species that are growing, it's typical suspects.
Well,
Norway.
We have no
When
problem.
you say restoring the meadow, does that mean just removing the invasive species or all the trees that?
No, not the trees. So, let's just back to the history lesson of the site. The first time I encountered the site was roughly about 35 years ago. I used to maintain this property when I was 17 years old. And we used to cut this as a meadow twice a year. And what this consisted of then was just stand of birch trees, high bush blueberry, and some raspberries that were planted in here. And the back field was really just mowed as a field. Mowed twice a year typically, not for haying or anything, but just typically to keep it knocked down in open space. So the first area is described here as this no disturb here, and that's this area out front here. And I don't want to waste a ton of coloring, but the back area,
Yeah, it's over there too.
which you can see this this is the original wooded line. This is all now 15 feet high of sucker growth of all those suspects. And it's this whole wooded edge. So we'd like to get back what was these areas. And so would our immediate abutters. I have
I was
letters
gonna
from
say, what do the
them.
neighbors say?
And-
Oh, they
and-
love it.
And so
Yeah.
would everybody in town.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah,
remove
why
the
not?
invasive.
I don't know if you guys remember this, like what it used to look like.
No.
We used to have, you know, the daffodils coming
I just
through
remember the
the
old house.
meadow grass and stuff. It was really a nice area.
It was an old house right
Yeah.
here.
It was right up
There
front. The
was
original house was
old-
right there.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can see the footprint of it here. That's why they had to phase this in.
It was a charmer.
Yeah, they had to phase this in.
Yeah.
Well, Kim has got enough good language for removing invasives, and
Yeah.
we've added
Yeah,
that to
we've got
this.
it built into
But
the
you
decision.
really,
It's in there.
yeah, but it would be really.
That's why I don't know if this
Kim
is
go
technically a
just-
modification, but more of a
Just to make
clarification
sure.
of policy
You
for
could say a
us
full
to
sidewalk.
work these areas.
Yeah, just Kim walk, because she's so tuned in on it.
Because the description of the areas, it's very descriptive in the original decision
Mhm.
of what these areas look like
Mhm.
and what this edge looked like. And if we went out there today, you would go, oh my God, we're being overrun.
Yeah, poison ivy, bittersweet and everything.
Yeah.
But this is more than just getting rid of bittersweet.
I understand, it's cutting down trees that have been killed by it, that's why I.
No,
that's why-
I think we can
and-
salvage.
No,
yeah,
you
And
do.
I would really like.
If you can
to
see-
Talking
take a
about
look.
the back meadow.
Yeah.
If you
There's
can
a
see,
lot of saplings coming up in that meadow.
Yeah.
is what
They're
we're
all
saying.
clusters of
He wants to
choke
cut
cherry.
those down.
Yeah.
It restores meadow.
So it's gonna be a little bit of a modification of the
Right.
standard conditions.
Right,
you know.
so do you want to have a full sidewalk?
No, I think Kim,
Kim can-
what we need is just advice from Kim as
Yeah.
to what the language ought to be that says, okay, to go ahead and do what
Right,
needs to
like
be
meadow
done.
maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah.
for 2 years.
And that would just go in the file or recorded, or what do you think?
What we'll have to do is get language from Kim, draft up a modification of the decision, the initial decision, vote on it,
Sure.
and then that gives you the user's manual for
Perfect.
what to do.
Because I think we need this policy as a general rule, for not necessarily this site.
Right.
So I should schedule a site walk with Kim then?
Yeah, and we do have standard language for clearing invasives now.
Yes.
Although this is slightly different in that a meadow is growing up here. It's not just getting rid of bittersweet, it's also
Right.
restoring
Exactly.
what was a meadow back to a meadow.
Correct.
Yeah, that would be
Um,
nice.
Unique situation.
Yeah.
It is, and it's a big piece of
little
property.
different.
It's really-
It's not recurring.
And we know we're working with conservation and all that, because we do have some issues back here, and we'll be working with them, but they'll see the same way that you guys.
Right.
When was this meadow? How far back?
Well, this is 2003. This here, because we can tell by when this was built. 2003 to 2005 is when we're zeroing in on that.
So,
But this doesn't look like a meadow, you're saying it was a meadow there?
Not, this one's not, this was always maintained 35 years ago, up until this photo was taken. Birch trees growing out of it,
You happen to have a photo?
with other high bush blueberries.
You happen to have a photo of what it was? When was it, what meadow? Or
This portion?
Yeah, or the back.
Well, it's described in the planning board's decision.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah,
Good. So Kim will have something to go by.
yeah, I mean,
Kim will have a report.
it's a pretty
and
short,
much of it
sweet.
is meadow.
It says there are a number of large street trees along Chestnut Street. This is the description of the lot.
I don't know.
Number of large street trees along Chestnut Street. In the western corner of the lot, of Chestnut Street, there are a number of large existing trees and fruit-bearing shrubs in a field. Is how this area was described. The land behind the existing house is predominantly open, containing a tennis court, which was demoed a long time ago. Garden and field, again. Field extends through the narrow middle portion of the lot into the southern half of the expanded rear portion of the lot. The only wooded portion of the lot are along the northern property line, in the middle portion of the northern half of the rear. And that's just right through here. It's the only portion of the lot that's wooded.
So Steve, as I'm looking at this, here's the house, here's the driveway, here's this little ditzel over there. Is that little building behind this building? What is that?
That's this house.
This is this house
Yeah,
and this,
that's that
okay.
house right there.
So.
You can see it
I'm-
right up here.
Okay, I'm sort of looking, so where is this meadow that's all growing in with saplings? Where is it? I mean, this looks pretty open.
That's because this is 2005.
This is,
It's
a-
not,
no,
this is current.
this is a Google map, you know, they like photograph all of us every 10 minutes.
I got this off of that, and we can tell by the construction, well, you don't know that.
Well, this is a
Yeah.
fully constructed
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, the date's on it. It should be.
Does it have a date?
Yeah, there's a stamp date on
Really? Where? I don't see
it.
it.
Probably on the
So-
lower right.
The field is back, it's back here. It's all this area here.
It's
All
all, yeah, so
that
that's
area.
why it would be
Yeah.
good to have Kim just take
It's
a
all
look
that
and
area
see,
here.
you know.
That's the original woodline, it's this whole area here.
Okay, so that looks like it's a pretty
Does
small
those see that
man.
rear yard you have right there?
Yeah.
The neighbor, those used to connect. They used to all be one big field.
Well, I can see it was wide open.
Yeah, they all used
This-
there was no real delineation of the two properties.
They're always up.
Oh, down here you see, is that?
Okay.
So we'll schedule Kim to go,
Yep.
Can you draw the parallels and differences between the ability to do the invasives and the sort of standard maintenance of the property? Like why is maintaining a meadow different from maintaining a property? Like I don't understand why he's being reviewed. I'm just not sure.
well, what he's saying is that when this started, I don't think it depends on what you think the vision was for the no disturbance zone. I think that the vision was that it would remain looking as it did when it was declared a no disturbance zone. But what's happened is it's now growing up in a woodland. What was a meadow has now grown up into saplings and woodland. And the question is was that the intent of the initial condition?
But wasn't that the idea behind what you said for the Glen Road property? Because things had grown up and so people were, and it said no disturb, but the idea was that you were able to keep it where it was when it was approved as no disturb. Isn't that sort of similar? I don't understand.
It is, but what we were doing there is we were allowing tree removal in that as well to
Yeah.
get it back to what it was. So
Right.
this is the same
Right.
idea.
It's the same idea. That's what
We have a standard condition that we're putting in our decisions that tells people what they're able to do in the no disturb zones. But that presumes that they're starting from scratch with the situation as it is today. This is one that's 17 years old.
Yeah, it's like the
So-
Glen Road property.
Yes, so there we need to be a little bit more explicit about what we're allowing them to do. Like, typically, we wouldn't say, go ahead and cut down trees in such and such an area, because the whole point would be to preserve it as it is right now.
At the
So-
time of the approval,
At the time of the approval.
17 years ago in this case.
In
Well,
this
that's
case.
exactly what we're looking to do.
Yeah.
And again, I
So it says, so
understand.
that's implied in the Glen Road decision, sort of, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
And this is the Glen Road decision about that house, where it had all the totally overgrown front plantings, is that the one
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
talking about? You know,
Yeah.
with like
It was like a,
60-foot-high Colorado blue spruces on the side of the road.
exactly, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It wasn't the original intent.
I'll call it
Right,
back.
which is the same here.
Yeah.
So it's it kind of,
Good, okay, thank
Maybe,
you.
You know, took them out like Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Nice
coming
job.
up with quick answers, Steve, about the hurdles.
But it is. I've made the board's landscape,
What's that?
hardscape. That'll be a conflict
Thank
of
you.
interest. We can't do that. Hi, Joe.
Had complimenting your haircut.
I just got it, it's a fresh one. Same guy I've been going to since I was 3.
You are such a traditionalist.
I have to be. Gotta keep them employed.